Pete Davidson plays a hyper-realized version of himself, which he sort of already did in The King of Staten Island, but this time he's actually named Pete Davidson. He is an SNL alum. He's a famous person. Let's talk about Bupkis. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my TV review for the new Peacock comedy called Bupkis. This has been getting a lot of press the last few months because of its casting choices. Edie Falco is here as Pete Davidson's mom. Joe Pesci plays his uncle, and there's a ton of guest stars here that I don't even think we'll get into because I don't want to spoil any of the episodes, but there's some famous faces for sure, and no doubt Lorne Michaels as producer has a little bit to do with that, I think. But before we launch into Bupkis, this new TV series, I want to welcome you into Dan Reviews It. Thank you for finding this video. We've got a ton of great movie and TV reviews for you to check out. I try to post something new just about every day too, so please consider subscribing down below. Hit that notification bell so you can be informed of whenever I drop new videos here on the channel, or like this video, comment on it, share it. All that stuff does help the channel out. All right, so talking about Bupkis, all 8 episodes of this are streaming right now on Peacock. This just dropped a few days ago. I know sometimes I get a little behind on my TV shows, but when it comes to the comedies, I try to get those out pretty quickly because that's sort of my forte in TV. I mean, I've been a sitcom fan for a long time, ever since I was a wee lad, and so this one had a lot of heat on it just because people were curious. Okay, Pete Davidson's kind of first post SNL thing, really, and he's once again playing himself. In King of Staten Island, the Judd Apatow movie, he was playing a version of himself. Father died in 9/11, but he wasn't Pete Davidson. He wasn't playing someone, who was himself. But here in this one, we see right away in the first episode, in the first scene, he's sort of scrolling through Google and looking at sort of the negative comments about him, and it's clearly him. SNL veteran Pete Davidson, living in Staten Island with his mom. A lot of the vitriol from the internet is on the screen there. So he is for sure playing himself. And that, I think, comes with some positives and some negatives. I did mention Edie Falco and Joe Pesci, but the cast does also include Bobby Cannavale as one of his other uncles, and Charlie Day as his therapist. Those are sort of more, semi-regular characters, I guess, as opposed to the people kind of playing themselves in starring roles that again, I won't really get into, sort of let you be surprised by those when they pop up. But this is not necessarily the same as King of Staten Island, because there, I think we were focusing in both things. We focus on a guy in his mid to late 20s, sort of at odds with himself and his mental health, and who he is as a person, and all of that. But that centered also around his mother, Marissa Tomei, and her sort of romantic life and stuff. And there's a lot of mother-son stuff here too, with him and Edie Falco. But this is more, definitely like in the Curb Your Enthusiasm type vein, or a lot of those shows that have kind of came and went since Curb started, where people are playing hyper-realized versions of themselves, and kind of how far do you take it? How seriously is this person kind of portrayed, or how buffoonish? And Pete Davidson, the one thing about him is he is well aware that many people really don't like him, and what he's all about, and how did he get famous, and he's not very funny, and whatever. And I must admit, I am a bit in that camp. I think he had a few, cool things come out of SNL. I will admit that. And he's been okay in some of the other things I've seen. And I really enjoyed King of Staten Island. But again, playing himself, not really stretching at all. Here, the fact that he's kind of leaning into the persona of him, and factoring, kind of those hyper-realized things about him, and sort of going in those directions. And we also do flashbacks. Episode 2 specifically is all about basically the week after his father passes away, there is a family event, and so a wedding, and we see a little bit about, okay, where does some of this behavior come from, that we know now. I'm very happy that they have not, well, I've only seen the first 3 episodes, but I'm happy that they have not leaned into like the Kardashian of it all, with his relationship with Kim. And who knows? I mean, that could be something contractually that, Kim Kardashian does not, allow them to use her likeness or whatever. But I could be wrong. There, in future episodes, there could be some Kardashian stuff, but the first 3 episodes didn't have anything to do with that. But I really don't think Pete Davidson is that talented. And that again comes with some kind of positives and negatives. I don't think he's talentless. I think he, like I said, had a few good things on SNL that he did, but for the most part, I feel like he was pretty disposable on that show, especially when some of the actors and actresses around him were just kind of running circles, where he stuck to his lane. Kind of, he did a couple of things interesting, but clearly, when his biggest TV show and his biggest movie role are both different versions of him, with a lot of similarities to the real Pete Davidson, does he have a lot of range? I would say no. But can he play himself and hyper-realized versions of himself and do it well? Yes. So there sort of lies the rub with that. I don't think he stretches at all here. But the supporting cast around him are so strong. Edie Falco is fantastic. Joe Pesci is great. Everybody that sort of lends themselves to this, except for, sadly, because I'm a huge Always Sunny fan, Charlie Day as the therapist. I think in episode 3, we've seen him in a couple of episodes, but episode 3, it really goes off the rails, and he ends up sort of doing his kind of Charlie Day bit. The over-the-top screaming that we see as the Charlie character on Always Sunny, and we saw maybe a little bit in some of his movie work, like Fist Fight. So I don't love that. But for the most part, his family surrounding him, really, really top-notch performances. So this is an interesting one, because I think it's definitely got potential to, give us many, many seasons of this. I think the first sort of 8-9 minutes of the first episode is not only disposable as to the rest of the show, but it's really disgusting. It's going for this gross out sexual sort of thing that for me, I was like, is this what the show's going to be the whole time? And then we meet the Joe Pesci character, and then it kind of builds from there, and that first thing is like forgotten. But I get what they were going for. They wanted us to get right away that this is kind of a pathetic dude, somebody with a lot of sort of mental health problems, and Davidson has never shied away from his mental health issues. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like Pete Davidson can only play versions of himself, and in that respect, this show succeeds because that's what he's doing. And is it, more like Curb Your Enthusiasm, where, yes, it's so over the top and crazy with the things. I don't know, but I feel like we're getting more of that with each episode, so maybe. But it's also, very rigidly scripted, I would say, unlike Curb, which, I think we've got the whole cast of characters that are able to kind of improv and do crazy mix-em-ups with the scenes. I don't think Davidson's got that kind of a talent, to be honest. But this is a very enjoyable show, much more enjoyable, I should say, than I thought it was going to be. I had my fears for sure, because I just sort of thought, didn't we already do this with King of Staten Island? I think both of these can kind of exist in their separate lanes, and both of them can be successful. Interestingly enough. So I'm going to leave Bupkis with a B+. I was surprised by this show. The supporting cast really makes it, but I think Davidson does a good job at doing this sort of hyper-realized, self-deprecating thing with himself. So I got to give him a little bit of credit for that. So there you go. All right, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time on Dan Reviews It. Bye.